Welcome, everyone, to Millennials and Money Cafe, where we create events to empower, inspire, and motivate millennials to love, live, and matter. Hi, I'm your host, Marilyn O'Malley, and I coach extraordinary millennials who are sensitive and creative entrepreneurs and professionals who struggle with making more money, loving relationships, and expanding business success. How to own being successful, loved, and live a meaningful, turned on life. And you can find out more about me and listen to Millennials and Money Cafe podcasts on my blog at marilyno'malley.com, or you can tune into iTunes and listen to Millennials and Money Cafe. So today I am really excited to. Our show is going to be about the act of doing business with Hawk Mikado. And welcome, Hawk.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate you, Marilyn.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm so going to appreciate you, and so is our audience. So, let me tell you a little bit about Hawk before we get started here. Hawk is the leading expert in online to offline marketing and sales systems. He is the creator of the Ultimate Marketing and Sales System, a powerful 9-step process to attract, convert, and deliver value to your customers so you build trust while increasing sales. He will help you craft value-based messaging that inspires and engages your customers to buy every step of the way. Hawk Mikado has co-founded 7 profitable businesses and sold all but this marketing company, which he has been nurturing over the last 14 years to be the success it is today. Hawk Mikado is an entrepreneur, an adventurer, and a family man. He has fun every day and truly loves everything business. It's his passion and his life purpose to help companies succeed. He is the expert in marketing and sales strategies. Hawk traveled the world 12 times over and knew at a young age that he wanted to help and serve in a huge way. He set out to learn everything about business and gives back by sharing his knowledge with others. He continues to have fun traveling the world, spending time with the love of his life, Caitlin, and going to the zoo and Disneyland with his friends and family. He has a very giving heart, dedicating his time to helping companies increase revenues and their employees becoming focused on their passion and confident about their path. Wow. Okay. So Hawk has some really wonderful stories here, personal story that I'm going to have him share. But Hawk had by the age of 18, he had built 6 companies and ran 3 family businesses. So, Hawk, I want to find out from you. Where did you get this passion for entrepreneurship? How did you start, and what kept you creating more and more and more and more? Because I find that I guess entrepreneurs like to do that, but at such a young age is the amazing thing to me. By 18, having created that amount is pretty spectacular.
Thank you. Yeah, so I actually, part of my passion and interest in marketing and being an entrepreneur came out of traveling the world. Um, and I learned a lot about different cultures. I get to see a lot of different people, what it is that they wanted, what it is that they liked. And in most other countries, there's actually a lot more entrepreneurialism. There's a lot more little mom and pop shops, and a lot of vendors that sell tourists that come. So that's a portion of the passion that comes from or that created my entrepreneurial passion. The spark event that happened was actually in second grade when my dad brought me to the store and he said, "Here's $5. You can buy anything that you want in the store." And with that, I went around and I kind of looked at what I could buy, and I found something that I absolutely love to this day, which is organic dried mango, naturally dried mango. And I bought an entire pound of it, which back then was only $5 a pound.
Mhm.
And I went, grabbed it, grabbed the pound, brought it up to my dad when we were at checkout, paid for it. And by the time that we left the store to the time that we got to our car, I had eaten the entire pound of mango, and I asked my dad for more. And he looked at me, uh, partially puzzled and a little perplexed, and said, "If you're going to eat it that way, then you're going to have to figure out how to buy it for yourself." And so that was kind of that initial kick that gave me an inkling to figure out what I could do to make some money so I could go buy more mango, because it is still to this day my favorite food by far. And the next day I went into school, and we'd been learning how to make paper origami paper balloons and the little paper fortune tellers. And I made a bunch of those. And on my walk home from school, I went up to people and I asked them, "Hey, would you like to buy one?" They're just 25 cents. And by the end of the day, I had a couple dollars, and I was able to go to the store and buy some more mango. And that was the very first kick towards entrepreneurialism.
Wow. And so what was it about that that got you excited that you could sell or you could have the money or you could do what you wanted?
It was that I could do what I wanted with it. It wasn't necessarily about selling. It wasn't necessarily about having money per se, but it was about being able to get the things that I wanted whenever I
Mhm.
wanted to get them.
Yeah.
And part of, I think, one of the really cool things about that was a mindset came about that making money is easy. Um,
Mm.
and I later learned in life that uh, keeping money was is easy too, but it wasn't something that I learned how to do.
Mhm.
So when me and my wife got together, when we were dating, that was something that was brought up between the two of us. She learned how to save all of her money. I learned how to spend all of my money, and now we figure out how to. So that
Uh,
was a learning experience that I got to hurdle over.
uh-huh.
But you learn a lot of cool things, especially if you do personal development and have an amazing coach who can help you along the way to get through challenges in your business, challenges in life, and through the successes as well.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Well, I'm just amazed that your little mind was thinking up all of these. But it just must have you you were. Well, I actually think that a lot of entrepreneurs are we're born liking to be entrepreneur, but I just have not known as many as energetic as yourself at such a young age. And so I know at 18, you went through some troubling times, and because you had built these companies and the family business, you want to share that story because I think this is important and what you learned from that.
Yeah. So part of my experiences growing up put me on the outside of what was quote unquote normal.
Mhm.
Um, and that was really hard for me because I wanted to fit in. I wanted to be like all the other kids. Um, and that really, so I started hanging out with all the other kids that didn't really feel normal. And all of those kids, at least in my school, were the kids who smoked and drank and partied a lot so that they didn't really have to feel what was happening for them. And the more engrossed and intertwined I got into that community, that part of the world, um, the more I lost myself, and the more that I felt that I needed to be in that part, in that community, and the more I needed to party, and the more I needed to smoke, and the more I needed to drink, and it was a perpetual kind of spiral down that um, it it was really challenging for me to be able to live through and to get out of. At the age of 18, I I had pretty much for about 2 weeks only drinking vodka and having orange juice and oranges and very little actual nutrition. And when I realized what I was doing, I started eating again. And literally after not having eaten for almost 2 weeks, um, I my body started to shut down, and I was rushed to the hospital.
Mm.
Um, when I got to the hospital, they put me into the emergency room, and at night they had to restart my heart 3 times,
Mm.
and I died 3 times that night. And as amazing as it is, I was able to be revived 3 times, and to see that I have a huge passion and a huge purpose in this world, and that if I can continue to do that, that I wasn't going to be able to fulfill that, and that would be worse than anything that I was doing to myself at that point. So I made the decision to look for support, find mentors, find friends that weren't smoking and drinking all day, every day. And I went back and went to school, and to really just to get to see what was working for people, and get out of my ego, which was a huge journey within itself.
Oh, yeah.
So that journey really took years, and it hasn't stopped, of course. But that the brunt of getting out of that environment and out of that world was was one of the most challenging things that I've gone through in life, and it was a humbling experience.
Yeah, well, we're glad you're alive.
Thank you.
Yes, it had to be a very humbling, but you're also a very courageous young man to have, experienced that and made a different choice to live a different life, in order to stand out versus to blend in.
Thank you.
That takes a lot of courage, and it takes a you had a lot going on. Not only, you're 18 years old and you have school, stress of school, which most people can't handle, but you've also created these 6 business, and then you're running 3 companies for your family. That had to be a lot of stress. And you're like a an adult in one aspect, and then like a kid in the other, that you had to grow up fast to have companies, and then a kid in that other, and trying to, fit in. And yeah, it must have felt like you were living in a couple different worlds.
Yeah, it definitely did.
Yeah. Um, And so what I hear, and then you made some choices. You had some choices. I can either continue down this road that's going to destroy me or kill me, or I can make some new choices. And so you talked about that you searched out mentors and coaches and guides for yourself. And so I'm wondering if you'll share um, with our audience about what are some of your perceptions and beliefs that you had to change in order to be successful and live the life that you have today.
That is a huge topic
Yes.
for myself specifically. But I'll share a couple of them that really stand out to me.
Hmm.
One of those was being young and being an entrepreneur. I started running into the I don't know if there's a term for it. But it was basically, I would go to offer somebody something, and they would question my credibility. They would
Mm.
question my ability to actually perform because of my age. And part of that perception was actually my own.
Mm-hmm.
And um, it never came up for me until one day somebody who was close to me asked me if that was a problem, and then it became a problem because I didn't know it would have been before that. And so understanding that in myself that my age was not a detriment to my ability, a component of why I can be successful. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that I can move quickly, I can learn fast, and know what's actually happening with other people in my generation, which the um, some of the other companies can't do because they're maybe even, especially in this day and age, a year behind is like 100 years behind.
Yeah.
In a lot of cases, especially when it comes to technology and the online marketing world. So being able to understand that is a huge component for me. Another big piece that I had to overcome was my own limiting beliefs, my own, the stuff in my head that made me believe that I wasn't good enough to charge what I deserve to be charged.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's a huge thing for everybody, because I know from my own experience going from charging and being able to command a couple $100s to a couple $1,000 is just as much energy as being able to go to somebody and let them know, well, it's $20,000. Like, that's not a lot of money. And it's $1.2 million is my biggest offer. And I've made it twice now.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't taken her yet for the big, like, we'll do everything for you.
Right.
But still, like, being able to confidently say $1.2 million, there's no reason you wouldn't want to do this if we're going to be able to take your business from where it is now to where you want to go. The ROI is there. There's no reason that. And so, but that had to do with me first believing in myself. And as my team grew, as the team of our company grew, being able to believe in the fact that they are worth it too. And
Mm-hmm.
that was a huge component. And the last thing that I think really commands towards my success is knowing and believing that I can't do it all myself. And it's one of the three pillars that we talk about on the business side of things, that we talk about in the act of doing business. And one of the three major challenges is not having a team is a component of that, because your team is what gets the stuff done that you're not an expert at.
Mm-hmm.
I know I can make money easily. I love marketing, but when it comes to sales, it's not my favorite thing in the world to do. Doesn't mean I'm not good at it. Doesn't mean I can't do it well. It's just not something that I am excited and wake up to do every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we brought on a chief sales officer who can take care of that stuff when we have to do, when we have to take that component on. So
Mm-hmm.
those are the three biggest things. Was, for millennials specifically, is understand, you're old enough as it is. You have an advantage by having your age. You're believing in yourself so you can charge what you're worth, and knowing you can't do anything so you can bring on a team, which actually helps you charge more, ironically. So they all kind of lend to each other and can bounce off of each other.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that, because I think I see a lot of times people are doing, doing all the strategies, doing all the work, just a ton of energy going out, but they're not doing any of the inner work, so they can't get to where they want to go, and they don't really understand that you've got to, whatever you believe, you create. So So thank you for sharing that. That's an advantage to all that hear it, can really hear it this time. So then I was thinking also, so as you've gone through and you've had businesses that have been successful and you've had businesses that have failed. What have you learned about being a successful entrepreneur?
So this goes back to the three things that we do in our company. Goes back to kind of the foundation of what we teach in some of our marketing materials and in our books and everything. Goes towards attracting the right person, collaborating with them, connecting and being able to make the right offer to them, and then helping transform them and what they're doing and what you're helping them with, which really lends to getting them the results that they want, that you want to get them to. So there's a lot to that. So the first is really attracting them in, which is not just attracting anybody and everybody. And this is not only a pet peeve of mine, but a really a big challenge that a lot of fresh entrepreneurs that I see they have over and over again, which is I help anybody who has lungs, or I help anybody who does X, Y, or Z.
Mm-hmm.
And when we went from a much broader scope of who we help, we had a much bigger demographic. We had our business used to help basically entrepreneurs who were at $1 million or less. It didn't matter what kind of business you were in. It didn't matter what you needed regarding marketing. We could help with it. That was when I used to charge anywhere between $200 and $2,000 for what we do. Mm-hmm. And it's the same thing that we do now, but we charge a lot more for it. Now we do product launches, service launches, and event launches for B2B companies from $5 to $10 million. Mm. So being able to command $20,000 or $50,000 or $100,000 is not a lot for that. So that was a huge, huge component of, and I saw this time and time again, and for each business that I had that was successful and profitable, I had 3 that failed. So at one point, probably about a year and a half ago, somebody had asked me, what was all, like, breaking it down, like you've had all these successful companies, you've had 3 times more companies that failed, like what was it that made them fail, the ones that did, and what was it that made them successful, and did they correlate? And the biggest thing from when we're starting out, the biggest thing was that we were attracting customers who might be able to afford what we had to offer, but couldn't even afford it. Mm. And that was a huge, huge thing. So
can you repeat that again? Because I think we kind of crackled when you said it again. So just repeat that last line again, Hawk.
Definitely. So being able to attract people who can not only afford what you do, but easily afford what you do is one of the biggest either failing points or success points in a new company. And a great example is, if you have something and you offer it for $10,000, if you're offering it to, whether it's a company or an individual, and their revenue or income is $100,000, that's 10% of what they earn every single year. Is that something that they can afford? Yeah. Is that something that they can easily afford? Not necessarily. They have a lot of other things that $10,000 so to be used. Now, if you offered the same thing to somebody who had $1 million in income or $1 million in revenue, if it's a business, is that something that same $10,000, can they afford it? Yeah, that's a drop in the bucket for them. That's 1% of what they make on an annual basis. And for them to make that investment, there's a lot lower of a risk for them to be able to do that. So they're less likely to throw up the objection of, I don't have the money, I don't have the time, I don't have the resources to be able to make this happen right here, right now, because you've eliminated that by finding the people who can already use what you have and want it now.
Right, right. Yep. That's and so I'm just going to play devil's advocate here a little bit, all right? So what about the people that are starting out, like millennials that are just starting and they're wanting information, to grow, that they don't have $1 million business yet, and not necessarily, so maybe when you were just starting too, um, I guess how do not like I guess, and this is why this is an issue, right? This is a challenge for people because there are people that need your information, and I guess that's why you do the free ebooks then, right? And
So
how do you help those that can't afford it but are really craving your information?
we have a couple things that we offer. One, the Chief Marketing Officer Handbook, which there will be a newer version of that with some updates of everything next year. So we publish that annually. And it's going to be called The Active Doing Business, and it's going to have all of the stuff we had last year, from this last year, plus the 3 killers of business, plus a whole bunch of other stuff in it. We're expecting it to be about 200 or 250 pages. It literally has everything we know about marketing.
Mm.
I don't hold anything back. Our clientele is a type of client who knows that they don't want to do it themselves. They know that they want the team to do it for them. They just want to know that they're working with the expert. So when we publish something, we give it all.
Right.
Versus the company who may charge $2,000 or $5,000 for the same thing we charge $20,000 to $50,000 for, but they're going to get results in, comparable results or respective results rather. And we also have an online training program, which literally any customer. So this is kind of a secret, which is not so secret. But if you buy anything from us, even our book at $10, we give you our online program which we charge $1,500 for if you buy it by itself.
Wow.
Right, so but the goal of that program is to get the customers who aren't quite ready to buy from us to get the systems established so that when they do come to buy from us, they can do it and we can get them jump started quickly. And it's after each section, which is each section has 3 parts in it. After each section, we make a sales offer for anywhere between $5,000 and $25,000.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got it is a sales tool for us as well.
Right. But
that's one of the reasons why we can give it away to anybody who buys anything from us.
Right. Because as you're helping others grow, so those people that aren't there yet, but you're helping them grow so they can get up and now they trust and love you.
Yep.
And you're that they know what you're doing. So
Yep.
great. Okay. So, and is the attracting the right person, going back just a bit, that's the niche marketing, correct? That's
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that has to do with niching down. It has to do with targeting well. Has to do with your marketing messages. Has to do with how you actually capture their information. So, everybody, a lot of the marketers of today will talk about how important online marketing is. I'm going to kind of break that norm and say it may not be as important for you, depending on what you do, as everybody's telling you it is.
Mm-hmm.
There are 100,000 different, there's at least 100 different social media websites.
Mm-hmm.
Facebook may not be the one for you.
Mm-hmm.
I know for us, for instance, Facebook is the worst place that we can get to lead generation.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's not to say that we don't spend money there, because we do get leads there and we have the budget for it. But we know that, for every $100 we put in, we may only get 115 back or 130 back. Versus if for every $100 we put into LinkedIn, we're probably going to get close to 500 or 1,000 back.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's the return.
So there's a lot of so what I'm getting from you on this is that there's a lot of ways that what I've been hearing is like, all the social networking and all the places that you can go market and there's like so much noise. This is, and you before we're talking, when I was reading your personal history about feeling misunderstood and helping businesses, uh, communicate so that they are understood through to their audience, right? And that I think as an entrepreneur, I know for myself, and this is probably, again, the where you had your businesses failed too was like not, so not knowing where to go and who to talk to, where to spend your time. And that, I know for me as a coach, it's like, my expertise is coaching, and it's not my expertise is not spending hours, marketing. I want to be changing people's lives. I don't want to spend hours on Facebook or whatever. And I have hired a marketing person for me, but even, I see there's even more, and that person can be working full time for me, and still, it's just
So,
a lot. It's a lot. It's
yeah, so
overwhelming.
it definitely is. It can get overwhelming even for somebody who does marketing. And there's actually two components to marketing, in terms of like as a marketing department, and I think this is often overlooked, and it's usually done by the same person, even though it shouldn't be. There's market research, so that's what you just asked, is who or where do I find the people who I want to be targeting, and then
Hmm.
there's what's called market penetration, which is a technical term, which is really how do I talk to them? How do I go to that place and give them the marketing materials or get them into a conversation to be able to attract them in, and hopefully they'll give me their contact information so I can follow up with them.
Yeah.
And if not, how do I get to the next person? So there's the market research and market penetration, which are two very essential components that is often overlooked, and which is why we have somebody on our team who does market research. That's all she does,
Wow.
is who and where can I find the people that I want to be talking to.
Wow.
And
Hmm.
from there, that person then delegates and says, okay, well, market penetration team, the person who's doing the ads, who's doing the networking in networking groups, who's doing all of that, here's where you should be going and here's where you should be looking, and here are the organizations you want to be signing up with. So go here.
So you save people a lot of time and money and peace of mind.
Yep.
Anxiety, or I mean, it's actually you create peace of mind. You save them anxiety and worry.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, good. So what's the second challenge that
So
he?
the second challenge is um, it's the collaboration component. And we've had different terms for this component, which is breaks down into three main areas. Is how do you get the person who has given you their contact information, and how do you get them to sit down with you in a conversation or watch a webinar or come to a live event and have a conversation around purchasing what it is that you offer, and then how do you actually deliver that to them? So giving them what it is that they want, but not just for a little bit of money because, anybody can sell a $100 program online. But being able to have a one-on-one conversation with somebody to be able to offer them a big ticket offer is really a key component to being able to grow to a place where you can leverage other consultants, where you can leverage a marketing team and a sales team and a delivery team and a customer service team, and grow to a company versus just a solopreneur or a small business team. So that's a big, big component of being able to grow, is that ability to know after you've gotten in front of them, know what they want, be able to ask what they want, and offer them a package that is profitable for you and makes you the revenue you need to be able to not only past survival and go into striving and thriving and being able to grow at a rate that's comfortable for you, but is also maybe a little uncomfortable at the same time.
How exciting! Okay, yeah, great. And what would be the third step?
The last step is being able to leverage the resources that you have, which includes your team, which includes joint ventures, which includes marketing automation tools, sales automation tools, social media, networking groups, so that you can deliver the best possible result to the clients who just paid you just a moment ago, and make sure that they get the results that you promised you were going to get them. And once you've been able to get them that result, how do you ask them to come back and buy the next thing? And how do you get them to send all of their friends and family to you, so that you as a company and as an individual can achieve your goal?
That's wonderful. So you really are looking at the every aspect of the business and up leveling it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We look at all of the key components. And one of the big things that we do in a VIP day with our it's 2 days actually, is we have 72 points, 72 kind of in detail areas that we go into. And it breaks down from 6 major components, which is impact, niche, vision, attraction, collaboration, and transformation.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And how long have you had this business?
We've been in business. I've been doing this for over 15 years. This company, we actually merged with another and got business partners, which is part of the growth of leveraging and my own resources about 2 years ago now. So this business has been around for about 15 years, but as Invert, we've been around for about 2.
Great. Oh yeah, and we should name the company, right? It's Invert Strategies, and you can find out about it at invertstrategies.com. Is that correct?
Yes, that's right.
And is there anything else that you want to share about the act of doing your ebook about the act of doing business, which that will be coming out in January? Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. At the I think we have it scheduled for January 22nd.
22nd. And is there anything you want people to, if they don't contact you personally, to have your company do business an entry point, or do you want them signing up for the 3 major challenges that can kill your business and how to avoid them, or you want to wait?
Yeah, you can get the ACT blueprint actually. So it's a 1-page sheet of the act of doing business, and it goes over the 9 key components of that, which is the same as the Ultimate Sales System, just been renamed, rebranded with the new company name. And you can get that at invertinc.com/blueprint. So it's invertinc.com/blueprint.
Okay. All right. And this has been so informative. I'm wondering, is there, I think we've covered most of the things. Is there anything that you want to leave the our entrepreneurs with? Any advice, personally, professionally, motivationally, inspirationally?
The very first thing, once you've kind of figured out who you're attracting and you've got something, a big ticket offer to make, is hire an assistant to take care of your emails and your, even your phone calls, your incoming phone calls, scheduling appointments with you, and responding to people on your social media from your personal Facebook messages, LinkedIn messages, things like that. That is, I think, when I did that, I probably went from needing to work 40 hours a week to needing to work about 20 hours a week, which was about how much time I was spending responding to all these things. And I have since found other things to do in the company, but a lot of my time is spent managing and leading the people in our company versus doing the kind of the day-to-day work that I can pay somebody a fraction of my, what I know my value is.
Right. So you're leveraging here too, right?
Yep. Keeps coming back to that.
Yeah. Leverage, leverage, leverage. And that also allows you to have time with your family and go on your adventures and, go to the zoo and Disneyland, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's definitely
So you got to keep that life work balance happening, so that you're full of energy for creating. Well, thank you so much, Hawk. This is really wonderful. Is there any place else that they need to go to connect with you? Where do you like people to connect with you?
Yeah, I mean that's a good place. When you do that, you'll get a call from my team,
Okay.
and they'll schedule a call with me.
Okay. All right. I appreciate your time so much. I appreciate what you're doing in the world, and look forward to learning from you more. And have a wonderful, productive, and successful life. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. Talk to you soon.